Hello, Brad here, just to say we're super proud that the Friday 5pm podcast is sponsored by the Malt Miller, the UK's best home brew store.
We use the Malt Miller for all of our homebrew experiments, as well as tapping them up for advice and binging on their awesome YouTube channel all the time.
That's why whenever we release a homebrew video, we put a recipe kit live on the Malt Miller, so you can brew with the exact same amazing ingredients that we did. The same ingredients used by pro brewers.
So alongside the Malt Miller's nitro-flushed hops, cold-stored yeast and milled-to-order malts, you can pick up recipe kits for our 5 Points Best Bitter, Russian River West Coast IPA, and now the fastest beer in the world, a hazy session IPA that goes from grain to glass in less than 48 hours.
Sign up to their newsletter at tinyurl.com/Malt Miller to get 5% off your first order. With the Malt Miller's amazing customer service and Johnny's 48-hour recipe, you could order the ingredients on a Monday and be drinking the beer by the weekend.
Speaking of which, it's Friday.
It's 5pm.
So enjoy this week's Friday 5pm podcast. Hey Biggies, welcome back to the Weekly Bubble. It's Friday, it's 5pm, and hopefully there's a beer in your hand. Is there a beer in your hand, Brad?
Oh, hell no. I've just had some Cocoa Pops, Johnny. I think I might have had Cocoa Pops last week as well.
I love that you're embracing the childish. I mean, we did pastry stouts this week, and I'm pretty sure that the Cocoa Pops are probably less sweet.
Yeah, I've had a weird couple of days. I seem to have a lot of weird days after we've had these podcast conversations, but literally I've just come in from having a confrontation with a man who was parking his little scooter illegally outside my property. And I just said to him, mate, this is private property, you can't park here. And he basically threatened to kill me. So that was really not fun.
Life just happens to some people, doesn't it? Nothing like that ever happens to me.
I think it's because you live in a nice part of town, Johnny. I live in Catford, you live in Kentish Town.
Now all the nutters are going to come for me. Thanks.
Hey, they don't know whereabouts you live. It's a big place, Kentish Town.
That's true. I mean, give it time and you'll announce it, but they don't know it yet.
Yeah. Well, once I learn your home address, then I'll announce it. I know it by sight, but being dyslexic, I can't actually remember the name, the number, or the name of the building. So you're safe. You're basically safe.
There we go.
Unless
Thank God.
they invent a sort of Matrix-style interface into my brain, in which case you're screwed because I remember everything, just not names and numbers, just everything else. So nothing of any use whatsoever. But
this is explaining quite a lot about our relationship.
Yeah, I'm a lunatic.
Yeah. You said it. So this week like I said, we were doing pastry stouts. So we've been doing a couple of hype trains because we've had basically Johnny's cupboards are bursting, and fridge I should say if it's IPA, bursting with ridiculously rare beer, and we thought we should start using these and get them out there and share the knowledge and share the pastry batter, which is what we did this week with Cycle. It's the first hype train we've done where A, we have been genuinely disappointed, and B, where the comments have all been like, yeah, this isn't good stuff. Like, yeah, so there's clearly lots of misinformation out there.
I think we must have got off at the wrong stop or something, Johnny. On the train. We got off at the wrong stop when we went to Cycle, maybe.
Maybe we picked the wrong days of the week.
I just think we were a bit late to the hype. By the sounds of it, it's not as hypey as we thought it was supposed to be.
Does seem that way. But I mean, to be fair, the second one we had, I thought was pretty good. Like overly sweet, but like nice balance, nice flavors. The first one, we didn't put it in the video, but like our lips afterwards were coated in sugar. Like it was like we'd been eating a donut.
I felt like a sort of like a seabird that had been covered in glistening oil that was gonna kill me. That was the syrupy nature of the first one. Yeah, it was way too slick for me.
Yep,
too slick, Rick.
Yeah, so we didn't love the Cycle ones. We thought that the Angry Chair beer that we did Hype Train a couple of months ago.
Ooh.
That was a delicious beer, even though it was it sounded on the surface of it like more nonsense. Like it was a Banoffee and coffee Imperial Stout, I think. and it was delicious and balanced, and like had flavors of banana and rich roast, and it was bitter on the finish, and it was beautiful. And then just down the road at Cycle, they're making what somebody in the comments called diabetes in a bottle.
I like that sort of cultural reference. Do you know that video? The man that's like, I've got diabetes, or whatever he says. He says like a really weird accent. I don't know, some American accent. It's like a meme thing, isn't it? Anyway, it smelled delicious, the first one. It smelled like chocolate and vanilla ice cream. Yeah, that was the one that was vanilla on vanilla, right?
Yeah, like double vanilla. DDV.
Double vanilla. Milli vanilli. Which we had no clue what... That threw us. It threw me, definitely, because I in the back of my mind, I thought, it's definitely not a fucking treat. And I remember it being one of the most expensive substances in the world, like for its weight, vanilla pods.
And it turns out it's part of a flower.
Yeah, it's an orchid, right? So we had a comment from Leon DJ, who came with the knowledge, and he told us vanilla comes from an orchid flower. There you go. And then Casey Abraham chipped in, and he said, yeah, it's like a sort of vine, not a tree or a bush. And he sent me the Wikipedia link, which was very kind of him. So, Casey Abraham, I really appreciated that.
Yeah, come for the beer nerds and stay for the horticultural knowledge.
Do you know who we've got to thank for vanilla?
I mean, the flowers.
Apart from obviously nature.
Yeah.
But I mean, what lost civilization should we be high-fiving? This blew my mind. The freaking Aztecs, yes.
Why should we
just
be
read
thanking...
that, or because they cultivated the orchids. They liked the look of the orchids. They cultivated them. They weren't necessarily pollinating them, but they were cultivating them.
Maybe the Aztec gold that no one ever found. Maybe it was just vanilla.
Just vanilla pods.
Yeah.
There was a Spanish conquistador called Cortez, who's incredibly famous, who's credited with both bringing back chocolate and vanilla pods to Europe. Well, vanilla to Europe.
If he invented strawberries, then he's got the entire Neapolitan range.
That's it, right?
Who knew? Cortez.
Who knew? Cortez.
I wonder how he'd feel knowing that now we just put tons of it into imperial stouts that we don't fully ferment.
I think he'd probably be slightly upset, and I imagine were they big boozers, the conquistadors, or were they kind of like more puritanical type guys?
They were Catholic, so they were
Catholic
pretty hardcore partiers,
shit,
I think. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Drinking from gold. Yeah, drinking communion wine from gold goblets and.
Ballers. Okay.
Yeah. They weren't the Puritans. They knew how to party.
Okay. They obviously. I mean, we all know the conquistadors were terrible on the native folk and basically destroyed all these civilizations by giving them the pox and whatever else they might have distributed amongst the people,
and just murder as well, like
and horrendous murder. Yeah.
Yeah, but at least we've got vanilla and chocolate, so,
it's not all bad then, eh?
Silver lining, gold lining.
Oh, God. Oh, my God.
The first hype train where we've been properly disappointed, but look at the content gold we've got out of it, Brad. It's not all bad.
No.
So the rest of the week's been pretty exciting as well, not specifically on the channel, but I got embroiled in a huge Twitter argument. They do happen.
Go on.
Basically around the Portman Group. So anybody who's not from the UK or doesn't know, the Portman Group is the industry regulator of how breweries and beers can be marketed. And they're an industry regulator basically saying we want to regulate ourselves because otherwise the government will come in and put in legislation which we won't have control over and could be pretty draconian, like we've seen with cigarettes, plain packaging, stuff like that. So that's how the Portman Group justifies its existence, but it's sponsored by the big guys, the big brewers. And I'm not saying, lots of people think there's a conspiracy there that they're against craft. I don't buy that. I've met them, I've done a podcast with them, I've consulted with them, and I don't think that they're biased, they're just awful at what they do. So they came down hard on a brewery called Lost and Grounded, who make delicious lager.
They sure do.
for their designs being too childish and appealing to children. And this is all based on a code which they consult on every 4 years and it gets updated. But in the code, basically, despite alcohol, you have to look over 25 and be over 18 to buy it. It's always in the certain aisle in the supermarket. And it's significantly more expensive than anything a child could afford. Despite that, they thought that because there was a cartoon tiger on the label, it was encouraging kids to drink.
Right.
Which caused, fury on Twitter. And then the local MP for Lost and Grounded in Bristol met with the Portman Group and had a go at them. Matt Curtis went down and had a go at them. I did several tweets that had a go at them because about a year ago, it must have been more than a year ago, they let Heineken put a gun on their label. And
Sure.
yet putting a cartoon tiger is a no-go. They also banned Purity Brewing's Lawless lager because they said that putting Lawless on a can might encourage people to break the law.
Wow.
But a gun's okay.
So these guys are definitely not conquistadors, are they? They'd be all about the guns, whereas these guys are more puritanical than that.
That's an interesting link to make, yeah.
Trying to do a very awkward callback there.
So yeah, they're pretty Puritan, and
but like you say, it's nonsensical. It's like it's not a fucking child's thing because it's got a tiger on the front of it.
Yeah,
beer should be joyful. It should be fun. Beer can and artwork on bottles. That's the new record sleeves. That's our record sleeves for our generation. All the best designers want to do beer can designs.
Yeah, 100%.
So like to be able to say you can't sell that because it's got that on is bullshit censorship, and it's ridiculous because, like you say, kids aren't going to drink it because of that. I mean, there's a whole frigging alco-pop market, which, why aren't they going after them? I mean, that stuff tastes like fizzy pop.
Yeah.
So why isn't that more of a problem? Yeah. A child's palate. I can remember trying beer when I was very young and thinking, this is absolutely horrendous. I'm never going to drink this. Way too bitter. Kids are not going to be drinking that. It's a ridiculous argument that they would say because of a tiger you can't sell it. And the fact that they put a gun on something else is incredibly insensitive to.
And it's they put the gun on it because it was James Bond, and you're like, if I could think of somebody who would encourage irresponsible drinking, it would James Bond is like the person you'd go for.
Well,
he downs a load of martinis and then shoots people. That's his modus operandi.
Sleeps with all different girls. Misogynist,
is a fucking
womanizer. Yeah, basically from the Ian Fleming ones, he's an alcoholic, misogynist,
womanizing murderer. Yeah, he's just that he's
murderer
got a license
as well. Yeah, on top. Yeah. I mean, he does look quite cool though. But
well, yeah. But that's the thing. They're making it look cool, and I think that's grossly irresponsible compared to putting a tiger on a label.
Who doesn't love a tiger, eh? I mean,
right?
Tigers, right? Tigers are pretty deadly too, though, aren't they? I wouldn't want to.
You could use a tiger as a weapon, to be fair.
You could, but
But this one's quite cuddly looking.
Which one would you rather face? Would you rather have a fight with James Bond or a tiger? I'd choose James Bond because I know clearly, if I fight a tiger, I'm going to die because the thing is about 5 times my weight. And
I feel like you might be able to run away from James Bond. I mean, not everyone's succeeded in that, as the films will attest.
I could maybe charm him or something.
You'd seduce him,
would you? Offer him a drink. We could offer him a drink. We could say, James, I know you like martinis, but have you tried this delicious Impy Stout? Or
with a tiger on it.
With a tiger on it. Yeah, it's incredible. You're going to love it. Please don't shoot me in the face.
I bet Bond likes tigers.
Oh,
has he ever been attacked by one in one of the films?
He's been attacked by a giant Komodo dragon.
He has.
I remember that.
Yeah.
What else has he been attacked?
And he'd been drinking before that as well.
I feel like he's punched a snake in the face, or is that's Jean-Claude Van Damme definitely does that in a film.
I think he just does that on a daily basis. That's just a hobby for him.
Yeah. That's burned in my memory forever. Jean-Claude punching a snake in the face. That's quality. Nonsense. Absolute nonsense. No way you could punch a snake in the face. They'd move.
Yeah, I mean that's talented, isn't it?
Yeah,
And daring.
It's amazing. Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
Anyway, I've
We've gone
totally
off topic,
diverted
Brad.
us
That's
as
unlike
usual. I know, right? It's so unusual.
Yeah.
What have we got coming up next week, Johnny? We've got some exciting stuff happening, haven't we?
Yeah, we've got a big old week. So we're our next video that we're filming on Monday is all about barley wine, and then we go off to SIBA's annual conference, BeerX, where we're presenting the awards to the beer businesses of the year and the brewers of the year.
Terrified, Johnny. I'm absolutely terrified.
We're just putting you on the techie desk. Don't worry about it.
Yeah,
you can chip in when you've got something to say about Tigers or Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Okay.
All right. And then after that conference, we're going to Glenafric, one of our Patreons, and we're going to be brewing an Imperial Stout with them.
It's exciting, isn't it?
Yeah.
Big boy stout. Wow.
Big old stout. I won't give away the recipe, we'll save that for the video, but some of it will be going straight into can after fermenting. Some of it will be going into barrel. So it's going to be a really exciting thing. We've never brewed an Imperial Stout. I've never brewed an Imperial Stout, let alone in collaboration with a commercial brewery. And I've never put anything in barrel. So it's going to be two big moments for us.
Milestones.
Indeed.
Wow.
So yeah, that video will be out in a couple of weeks. So we're going to wait. We know that when we do collabs and the video ends without us actually tasting the beer, that's super frustrating. So we're going to wait.
Yeah.
Wait until the beer's ready and then release that video once we've tasted it and once we know that it's good. And of course, we'll try and get the recipe for you guys so that if you ever wanted to make it, you can. So that's coming up in the next week along with BeerX. If you're at BeerX and you see us, come say hey. We'll be out at Glenafric, I think, doing a little party, and Dead Crafty are having a North Beer takeover, so we'll definitely be there. Probably talking about Tigers, Jean Van Damme, and the Portman Group.
Oh yeah, of course. We got loads more nonsense to discuss with anyone who might want to come and say hello. So
yeah, so little time, so much nonsense to get through. So do come say hi.
An ear. Oh yeah, lovely stuff.
Cool. Well, that's it from this week's Friday 5 p.m. If you want to ask any questions or appear on the podcast, send us to craftbeerboys@gmail.com. Any recordings or questions you might have, and we will put it on the podcast the next week that we have an available slot. And otherwise, make sure you check out our video all about the Cycle Imperial Stouts, which we filmed at our friends Caps and Taps in Kentish Town, which is where I live. Thanks, Brad. We'll see you next week for a bunch of barley wine. Make sure you follow our Instagram at Craft Beer Channel, where we'll be talking about the Imperial Stout as we do it.
And guys, one more thing. We love you. If you've got any spare sovereigns, any of those conquistador dollars left, doubloons, whatever they were called, any support you can give us on our Patreon keeps the lights on, keeps us in underpants. Not a lot else because we don't make a lot out of this.
Just to clarify, we don't just spend Patreon money on pants and electricity bills.
We've never spent it on. All we spend it on is beer, isn't it, Johnny? And travelling.
Beer and travel. Beer. Yeah.
We reinvest everything you give us into beer and travelling to drink beer. So if you want to propel us in our mission to an early grave, no, not an early grave, but having a great time and sharing beer experiences with you, please contribute to our Patreon.
There we go.
It would mean the world to us.
I'm glad we let you do the Patreon pitch this week. You nailed it.